Okay, guys, I'm just going to go into making restrooms. It seems kind of simple, but I think it's probably pretty important that you guys figure out a little bit of how this should work. Typically, in a building, you're going to want plumbing to kind of all be consolidated. It doesn't always work out, especially in a small cafe where maybe the restrooms necessarily need to be more private, and the kitchen or back of house and whatnot needs to be a little bit closer to the public. But let's get into just kind of some basics. So I'm going to start drawing in. I'm going to put this 5-inch wall. I guess I'll do core exterior, and the reason I'm going to do that is I have turned on right here. If you've got this set to none, which is probably how you have it, everything looks pretty good. I may not want to show my light sources, but let's just pretend that's okay. But I want to put this restroom kind of right in here, but I do want to know where my mezzanine is because it's kind of floating. So what I'm doing is I'm turning on base mezzanine, and I'm going to have it look up. You can have it look down too, which can be really helpful if you happen to be on an upper floor and you need to see what's below. So just a trick about underlay. So just keep that in mind. I'll want to turn this back to none once I print, because that's I want to make sure the drawings are good. Okay, so now I can see it, and so now I'm going to go back to wall. I'm going to turn this to core exterior because you'll see as I'm drawing this, I want it to be aligned with the outside edge of the mezzanine. And then this wall I need to move a little bit, encapsulate that column. In fact, that one might have to be a little bit larger just to really encapsulate the column. All right, something like that. Okay, so let's just imagine that you want to have two different spaces. I think the most intelligent thing you can do now is to make them both unisex, but that's choice and it's client choice. So if I'm going to make this two spaces, what you'll end up doing if you're going to be, if you have the space for it, is you tend to want to put in thicker wall wherever your plumbing's going to be. So if you're putting, say, your toilet here. Well, let's just have this be the toilet and sink area will be on this wall. So if you're going to do that, what you would do is you'd double up, and essentially you're putting two walls in, which seems a little strange, but what that means is that all the plumbing can go in this cavity and then stick out, as it were. It makes the plumber's job a lot easier, which saves your client money. Okay, third guys are off, but we'll fix them here in a second. So then we'll just go that, and so what I'm looking from you guys is to create a restroom environment. And for right now, it might be kind of a generic restroom. And then I probably better dimension a few things just so I have an idea. All right, and it's pretty simple from here. I put it in my door, 36. A06-80. And we'll go with one more door right there. I think we've done it in the stair project, but just so you know, maybe it's a good thing to kind of go over this. Do one more thing here. That will be creating a wall opening. Okay, so here's the restroom, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the wall. And then I'm going to do that again. I'm going to put a wall opening. Right now, I'm lining it with the doors and then the door height. And then here I'll have to kind of adjust. And this would be a good time for alignment. Okay, so we can see kind of what happened there. I just had a complete wall and then put a door opening. Okay, so that what that does is that in the section, instead of having a wall that stops and has this huge cavity, it's actually filled in that wall all the way through, and then it just has an opening for getting in. All right. So that's just kind of basics 101 and just getting a kind of reasonable space where we don't have sight lines are being minimized here. It's kind of in the private zone, and definitely sight lines from kind of the larger space is not hitting your restrooms. I obviously have some crowding issues here, but let's pretend that I'll be out of sure I can get around this, but overall, this is the beginning. We'll place fixtures next, and then we'll also talk about tiling this restroom and getting that stuff aligned.